Welcome to the Breaking 90 podcast, where we talk about all things sustainable fat loss. We take people on 90-day journeys to creating fat loss forever. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Hello, welcome back to the Breaking 90 podcast. I'm here again today with my co-host Jerrika and Alex, and we are the coaches of Breaking 90 Fitness. Hey, Jer.
Hey, Alex. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Pretty good. Just settling in here in the new city. I just had this weird question this morning that I thought I was going to bring to your attention because I'm so curious. I am so behind on laundry because, when you move, you're just focusing on organizing your life. And all of a sudden I've got about 15 loads of laundry, but I need to know, I'm going to do a poll one day, but are you a laundry separator?
No.
Or
are you kidding me?
I kind of secretly in my head, I was like, I got to guess this for myself. I'm going to say Alex is a hard no.
So my laundry style is everything goes in the same laundry bin. And then I wait until I need clothing to do laundry. And so most of my clothes are Breaking 90 apparel, track pants, and sports clothes, gym socks, gym shorts, that kind of thing. And so the first load of laundry I'll do is anything that is gym related or track pants or that can survive together regardless of color in the laundry machine. And one of my friends gave me the tip to use vinegar with this to get that gym smell out of it. It's amazing.
Definitely. It does help for sure.
And then after that, if I have enough, I'll do a dark load and a light load, but I usually just do the gym load and then repeat the cycle when I need more gym clothes.
That's hilarious. I'm one of those annoying people that has 4 baskets of laundry with a label on each one: workout clothes, whites, towels, dark, they're all awesome. Separated. But lately it's just been chaos. So I'm I don't know how people live this way.
Moving is chaos. How is your new place?
It's going well. It's good. I'm currently if I showed you the rest of this room, it's not pretty. So we're just gonna stay in this corner.
I won't ask
and it
you
looks
to
organized.
do that.
But we're getting there.
Awesome. Cool. What topic do you have for us today?
I want to touch on some different, reasons, just in our opinion, why some people make progress and some people don't. Now, a lot of these are going to tie back to things we've mentioned previously, but I think there's some really good points to add in here that I've just been thinking about as of lately. I think this is a common theme, and we've done a podcast on not comparing yourself to someone else, but obviously you'll see, someone who's similar to you, making progress, and you're wondering why we started at the same time, we're following the same program, why am I not versus that? So I think it's kind of a cool reason you might feel like you're attacked or called out, and that's not my intention here when you're listening.
Who, me?
Not you, whoever's listening to us. But I think it's important to see if any of these points resonate with you and how we can change that.
Cool. Awesome. Do you want to start with what you had, and I'll kind of tie in?
Sure. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So the first thing that's always comes to mind with this is someone who, like I mentioned, you're both doing the same program. So you're both showing up, right? You're both showing up every day, whether it's, getting to the kitchen, preparing food, or getting to your workout. You're both showing up. And that's step one, right? We always say showing up is step one. Now, the difference here between someone making progress and someone not is what you're doing at step 2, right? What are you doing with that experience or opportunity, whether it's the kitchen, the gym, when you show up? Is that step 2 to me. And if you're not getting to step 2, or if you're not attacking that next step, then that's going to be the difference. That's going to make or break kind of the first point for me. Because some people will show up to the gym, right? And they'll do their workout, but maybe we're going to do this. You and I do the exact same workout, but it's how we attack that experience. It could be totally polar opposites, and that can determine a lot of our progress over the course of the next year.
For sure. So just if you're listening to this, just as an example, and this may or may not be true. If Jerrika and I go into the gym and we lift identical weight, it will probably be easier for me and harder for her. She will get a better workout. If we went outside and went for a run, I would probably die and she would find it easy. So it just because you did the same exercise, you went through the same motions, doesn't mean that it's going to have the same effect on your body.
Absolutely. It's just all about taking ownership to me in this point, because you know, one of our members have hired us as coaches, or you might have downloaded the best workout plan in your mind, or hired the best coach, or it's all about what you do with that, right? It's not about that. Step one is maybe hiring the coach, but step two is, it's okay, now what do you do with this experience? It's taking ownership. It's actually applying what you've learned or what you've set out as your plan.
I think it's very rare that I shouldn't say very rare, but I think it is rare that we aren't making progress and actually think that the system is broken. Right?
Say that again.
So if somebody sees that they aren't making progress, yeah. I think it's rare that the person feels as if the system isn't working, and they could say like, yeah, you know what, I could be doing that. I could be giving this a little bit more heart, or I could be paying a little bit more attention. It's our natural instinct to immediately circle to that. But if we dig deep and look at everything, it's like, okay, yeah, you know what, you're right. I could be doing this a little bit better, taking this a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, taking
I don't
ownership.
want to go. Yeah. So just quickly while we're on this part of it, what I will often have people do is I'll look at a time when you were doing your best and now compare it to say now where you may not be making progress, and just compare the variables. Just say what was different then to now. And often it's like, well, I was more active, but I had more time. Okay, stop. You were more active. Regardless of whether or not you had more time, it's not fair to compare yourself to a time when you were more active because you were doing more. So we have to look at those kind of factors too, regardless of what obstacles are in your life right now. Are you showing up, like Jerrika said, the same way that you were when you were making good progress?
Absolutely. Yeah. I said, do you have a plan when you walk into your basement gym or your gym? When you walk into the kitchen, is there food ready so that you're not grabbing? It's that preparation, that plan moving forward. And I mean, we can look at this from so many different aspects. I'm thinking like, you know, you're sitting at work, if you work in an office and you're like, why did this person we have the same job? Why is this person getting a promotion and I'm not? It's that accountability. It's that ownership. It's what are you doing extra, right? What can you focus on extra that's kind of making you get to that next step? There should be something that's measuring your progress, so that, like I mentioned, taking ownership, but you need to make sure that you're able to track that progress. And a lot of people, you know, will just, and I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, right? Movement is always number one. But if you're looking for that next step, it's tracking your progress. So we can use the example of a workout again, right? We can just do the same Tabata every single day for the course of the whole month, or we can maybe increase our time to make it longer and harder, or add some weight to our exercises. It's how are you taking that next step in whatever your goal may be. I think about too, like this, the reason I thought of this topic, it's so random. I was walking across the street and there was the crossing guard, that was their job, right? Like stop the sign while the kids cross. And it's like, this person can show up every day and just like be miserable and hold a sign and just do their job, because that's just showing up. But no, this crossing guard was like saying hi to the kids, jumping around, dancing, waving the stop sign, telling stories, high-fiving people. It's like they had a smile on their face. It's like they were doing extra, right? So maybe their goal was to make everybody else around them happy, and they were making it clear that they were doing that extra mile. Or like picking garbage up on the street, right? It's your neighborhood. You can walk by it and just look at it, right? But it's like my goal is to be a better person. So I'm going to pick that garbage up and I'm going to make that part of my character trait. That's going to be who I am, because I want to take that extra mile. I want to make step 2 so that I can see progress in whatever aspect of my life that might be.
That's really cool. An example of this that I just thought of is a client I was talking to said that after listening to something I think we had said on one of the podcasts about looking for the extra opportunities to make neat movement, like parking further away. So my reference of parking close to the gym for the workout, so that you don't have to get too many extra steps in your workout. So now this person says jokingly that they fight for the furthest parking spot. Rather than fighting for the close parking spot, they will fight for the furthest parking spot. And I love that reference. That's looking for those little opportunities to have a big impact.
Exactly, going the extra mile, and those things add up. If you think about the course of the year, you're taking, let's say, 50 to 100 extra steps, depending on how far you are. Over the course of the year, that could be 2 pounds, right? Like, it's something worth just making those little things turn into something bigger. That's kind of the whole point here, and it's going that extra mile. And when I say this, kind of taking ownership point, it's not just today, right? It's that consistency that we talk about with Breaking 90. It's doing it today and tomorrow, and 80% of the time I'm picking up that garbage, or hopefully 100%, but it's doing that extra step as a consistency to make it a character trait, or make it part of who you are, part of your habits.
I'm glad you said consistency, because when I look at somebody plateauing or not making progress, first of all, don't compare yourself to somebody else, because they're on a different journey. They're at a different stage in their journey. So you can't realistically compare yourself to them. But if we're looking at yourself and you're not making progress, the first thing I will always look at, before what we were just talking about there, where you are showing up and you are doing what the other person's doing, is, are you doing it consistently? Because consistency is king here. If you are not showing up consistently, you will not make progress. So we call it X consistency in our program, but it comes down to, are you doing the things you need to consistent enough to make progress? And what is consistent enough? Well, it depends on your goal. But are you doing that enough to make progress? And I'm not talking about this week, because we often say, this has been such a good week. How did I not make any progress this week? Well, your last 3 weeks were shit. So that's why you need to look at a big picture. Are you showing up consistently over a long period of time to realistically expect progress to happen?
Exactly. And that kind of actually leads me into my second point, which is just a quick one, but it's another reason I think people make progress and some people don't, is because they give up too quickly, right? And that comes back down to consistency, right? If you can follow your sustainable program or plan or whatever it is, 2-3 weeks in, you're like, I'm still not seeing anything. It's give it some time, right? That it's just, at the end of the day, I often see a lot of people try to find the next fix because of whatever they're on or whatever they're working on or whatever goal they're trying to attack. It's not happening fast enough, so they give up too quickly. And I think that just circles back down to what we're talking about, consistency.
It's also what media makes us believe too. I mean, if you're not in the industry regularly, you see media makes it seem like the quick fix is a possible thing, right? So if you're not getting that quick fix after those first couple of weeks where you feel great, then you think something's wrong when it's not.
Right. Awesome.
What I always circle to after that, and this kind of loops into the points that you were making. So consistency, how consistently are you showing up? Yes, I am showing up consistently. Great. That's not the problem. The next thing I'll always look at is your intensity of, we call it an O day. So your intensity of the times that you aren't showing up, because we don't expect anybody to show up 100% of the time. So the times that you aren't showing up, how intense is that becoming? So for instance, let's look at nutrition. I'm hitting my nutrition goals almost every day. Okay, great. The days that you aren't, is it insanely off the rails, or is it a little bit out of line? Because that's a big factor. With your exercise, okay, I'm working out 4 days a week. What's going on? On those other 3 days a week, are you laying on the couch and not moving all day and eating? Or are you trying to get out for a walk? Are you trying to do some mobility work? Are you putting in a little bit of that extra effort that we talked about, right? So that's the second thing I will always look at, is your intensity in your off time, the other 23 hours a day when you're not exercising.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's a really good point. It's just kind of checking yourself and yeah, exactly, and seeing what you're doing on those off days. Awesome. I have another point to touch on that I think why people make progress and some people don't is one of the things I often see is they're not doing things that they enjoy, or they're not choosing foods they enjoy. Now, obviously there's a line a little bit here in terms of if your overall goal is to squat, I don't know, 300 pounds or something insane, but you hate squatting, right? We have to kind of see some alignment with our goals here. But overall, if fat loss is your goal, choosing movement that we enjoy. If we enjoy dodgeball or volleyball, right, then why not go play or join a league 3 times a week versus going for a walk that you maybe hate to do? So finding things you enjoy will make the progress so much more enjoyable and be likely to happen, right? We see people sign up for these programs, and half the time that they don't have the equipment that these programs say, or they literally hate every movement, or it causes them pain. You're likely not going to stick to it at the end of the day.
Yeah, just because it is the best solution doesn't mean that it's the best solution for you. The best plan in the world is ineffective if you don't do it or you don't give your heart to it, right? So you're much better off finding the best plan in the world for you than the best plan in the world.
Absolutely. And that goes with nutrition, and you can apply that to any aspect, right? Choosing, if there's the nutrition program says you need to eat celery every day and you literally hate celery, it's like, exactly, is this the best for you, or is it maybe the best, so they say, for the general? So that was one of the big points I wanted to kind of hone in on for that one. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you even see this at the gym. So say in a group fitness setting, you see the person at the gym who is like dancing and singing in between sets and reps, and they're like high-fiving people and cheering other people on. That person's having a blast. They love it. They're probably going to get results because they're pumped up and they're getting it. Then you see the person who like drags their feet to get in there, and it's like, ugh, I don't want to be here. They're not giving it 100%. You can't expect those two people to get the same results in that workout.
Right. Even though they both showed up. And it's funny because even the person that's dancing and high-fiving everyone, they might actually hate exercise, right? But the fact that maybe they're playing their favorite song, or like you said, they're high-fiving people, they're trying to make it a positive experience, that's still that extra mile. That's still making that part of your routine in a more positive way. So that will definitely take you further.
Yeah. Awesome.
I wanted to touch on your environment. So is your environment setting you up for success, right? So oftentimes we don't know what kind of goes on behind closed doors, right? So it's just checking yourself. Like, do you surround yourself? We always talk about who you surround yourself with. Are you surrounding yourself with positive people, right? Because the person that's making progress might have people who support them or who want them to succeed. And I'm not always saying that you're going to necessarily have that option all the time, but making sure that you are trying to connect with people that are like-minded. Do you have healthy choices available, right? Is your fridge set up for success? Do you buy the junk food? And if you do, are you keeping it somewhere that, you see it often, or is it tucked away? It's those things that affects your environment that'll affect your overall progress.
So I just wrote these 4 down, and I'm sure there's more that could be added to this list, but these are kind of hidden factors. So you take 2 people who are both showing up consistently. They're both exercising to a similar level. They're both hitting their nutrition goals, or even the same person at different stages in their journey, for that matter. But these are 4 hidden factors that can often cause differences in progress. So if you're counting calories, for instance, or points, are the calories the same level of nutrient density? So if I eat 1,000 calories of potato chips and Jerrika eats 1,000 calories of steak and sweet potato and broccoli, we will both eat 1,000 calories. A calorie is a calorie, but hers is going to translate to better energy sources, better recovery, and her feeling better and able to perform better long run. So that's one thing. assuming that you're tracking protein anyway, but protein could be another part of that. The other one is sleep. If one person is sleeping better and one person is sleeping worse, you're not recovering the same. Your energy isn't going to be the same. Stress is a huge hidden factor. One person has a bunch of life stressors. One person doesn't have a bunch of life stressors. We don't see that in the gym. We don't see that in their nutrition. They're hitting their targets. Those stressors are going to affect your recovery and energy. And then the last one, water intake. You hear us talk about it all the time. Those are 4 hidden factors that could be greatly affecting your progress.
Absolutely. I'm glad you touched on all those. I'm glad you mentioned the stress and the mindset, because that plays a really big part, right? If you're just, when you have these 5-minute, 10-minute gaps throughout the day and all you're doing is scrolling on a negative social media platform, seeing negative information or reading fake things, that's setting you up for a negative mentality the rest of the day, right? If you're, like we mentioned, surrounding yourself and having a positive environment, that'll, even if you're going to bed a little bit earlier versus scrolling the Facebook app, right? It's those things. It'll affect your sleep, affect your stress. They play such a big part. I'm glad you touched on those. I have 2 little brief points left for this podcast. One being kind of asking yourself, are you okay with failure? I think people who succeed and who succeed in progress, and doesn't matter what aspect of life, is they're okay with failing and they know that it's part of the process. And I think that that's important. And are you eager to learn? Because that's also part of the progress process. And if you kind of keep an open mind and are willing to apply either things you've learned or trying it out and failing, those things will make you a better person in the long run.
For sure. You can almost guarantee that any really successful person in whatever your goal is has failed more times than you have. I can almost guarantee it. They've failed enough times that they've figured out how to fail less often.
Yeah, because they use that as almost like fuel.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. And the last point I wanted to make was just the people who make progress are typically working smarter. And I say that in the point that, for example, habit stacking. We've talked about this on the podcast before, right? If we have 20 minutes in the morning, I might be stretching while drinking my water. It's finding ways, and I'm not saying, you have to stack all these things at once, but it's finding ways to do the things that'll benefit your life in maybe a bit of a time-saving manner, because I do understand that, right? Things are busy, life is busy, but mobility and drinking water are 2 non-negotiables for me, right? So if I only have 20 minutes, why not put them together? I'm working smarter, not harder.
Totally. For the people listening to this that don't have time to exercise, like use those 5-minute breaks where you scroll Instagram to walk around your office, to walk up and down your staircase. Like on a busy day where I have lots of back-to-back calls, if I have a 5-minute gap, I will walk my staircase for 5 minutes, because I know that I might not get in as much of an exercise that day. That will add up quickly. That's a really great point, Jeff.
Awesome. Those are kind of all the points that I wanted to touch on today.
Cool.
I think I think a lot of people will take a lot of this into account today. I think it'll kind of reflect on everyone.
I'm curious what kind of feedback we're going to get from this. I think there'll be some questions, and I think it'll resonate deeply with some people. So if you enjoyed it, make sure you let us know, or if you have questions, make sure you let us know.
For sure. I'm going to leave everyone with a kitchen tip today. This is kind of a reminder, because I know a lot of us our kitchens are sitting in the back cupboard. There's an Instapot hiding there. And I know a lot of people forget about it or don't use it. But last night I did meal prep. I had 20 minutes. In that 20-minute span, I cooked 6 chicken breasts in my Instapot. While it was cooking in my Instapot, I cut up all my veggies, cut up all my salad lettuce. I had I think there was 4 or 5 meals ready in 20 minutes. Like, meal prep doesn't have to be an hour, but I do recommend getting out the tools like the Instapot. For me, put a bunch of chicken breasts, put in your broth or whatever, shred the chicken, add your seasoning. Now you can throw that on any wrap, salad, anything. I try to, like I mentioned, work smarter, because you got to save a little bit of time.
Awesome. Great one. I still haven't given in to the Instapot, but every time I see it on sale at like Canadian Tire, it calls to me.
It's just getting cheaper and cheaper. I have the Ninja Foodie, so it does.
Yeah.
I use it mainly for the air fryer, but it does have the pressure cooker, and I love doing the pulled chicken. It's just so fast.
Cool. Awesome, guys. Thank you for listening today. As always, please rate this episode, comment on this episode wherever you're listening to it, and if you can, take a screenshot and share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with somebody you think might benefit from hearing it. We appreciate you guys being here. Have a great day.